Hey there. It's been a minute. I've been actually really stressed out about making this video ever since I decided that I needed to make it, and I keep not making it because why would I want to talk about this? Why would I want to talk about this? Because I think it's important, for a number of reasons. This is cockeyed and it's driving me crazy. This kind of all started with an article that was sent to me about 5 different times, which I will link to below. But it's this article on TikTokers called "Young Creators Are Burning Out and Breaking Down. Many people who have found fame on TikTok are struggling with mental health issues." And you might be thinking, well, Jay, you're not on TikTok. Why would somebody send that to you? It's just a different shoe on a different foot. I don't know what the analogy I'm looking for is here. I actually started with, it's related. It's very closely related. There are a couple of things in this article that I really identify with and a couple of things that I don't. If you want to pause the video and go read the article really quickly and then come back, feel free. But to summarize, it's basically highlighting this cycle that content creators have been going through for the last 7 years in different platforms, like in waves, starting with Instagram and then YouTube creators and now TikTok creators. Like, there seems to be a huge rise in activity and in popularity of the platform. People get a lot out of it, they're having a lot of fun, and then all of a sudden people seem to stop having fun. And as one of the guys quoted in here says, and then all of a sudden your favorite content creator is depressed. And that's not fun for anyone. Like, I think the main point of this article is just to raise awareness that this is a thing, that people are burning themselves out, young people especially. Everybody referenced in this on TikTok's like 21 or 22 years old. And they're killing themselves chasing something they don't even fully understand. One of the people quoted in this says, "It feels like I'm trying to capture this prize, but I don't know what the prize even is." And that's pretty real. And there's a lot in here about the appeal of quick fame on TikTok in particular, as well as just being able to work for yourself, to do what you want to do, and the wild pressures on the people that actually make it to some level to keep it going. So when I say that there are elements of this that I really relate to and others that I don't, one of the nice things that I don't necessarily relate to is that I've never gone viral. I've never had a video go. My career on YouTube, for those of you that may not know me super well yet, if you're new to the channel, I've been making YouTube videos intentionally and with the hope of actually doing it for real since June of 2016, so for 5 years now. And I didn't go full time on it for probably 2.5 years, something like that. It was a very slow, steady build. And that's one of the things that I'm gonna highlight today. Those of you watching this, the majority of you watching this, have been with me for a long time and have been a part of that and have helped to build this stable foundation that I'm learning to rely on and trust in slowly over time, which has been really, really good. And a lot of the kids in this article, they hit it quick. They got a dose of fame. They made some money really fast, and then they have to chase that, and they may not know exactly how to do that, which I wouldn't know how to do that necessarily either, because you lose a lot of control in this situation, and I really feel for them. I'm also getting a phone call from my accountant. Good time to pause. Oui, allô? Bonjour Sabine. Ouais, ça va et vous? Speaking of stuff you gotta do, you gotta take the phone call when your accountant calls you. Complications for something else, it's fine. But where were we? I don't know. This isn't the way I was gonna go. Let's back this up a second. This article was sent to me by like 5 different people, so you know that the friends see something there. That's true, and I'm not blind to it. Like I've struggled with burnout on and off for a really long time, and it's a personality thing. It's a culture thing. I push myself all the way to the edge as often as I can, and keep it there for as long as I can to get as much out of myself as I can. And invariably you end up falling over that cliff. I mean, if you play around on a cliff's edge long enough, it's just what happens. But I don't want to do that anymore. As I've prioritized my mental health, my physical health, as I've tried to be healthy, I've realized I gotta stop this. But it's been really, really hard. And I kind of want to explain why. And then I want to explain where I want to go from here, because you deserve an explanation. Thank you so much for watching, and you're an important part of this whole thing, and I want you along for the ride. And my hope is that by taking better care of myself, I can produce better videos about my life, about Paris, about France, about travel, about coffee, about who knows what. Anything and everything that has brought us together over the years. But that by slowing it down a little bit, I might actually be able to do that as a career instead of just being a flash in the pan and then, I don't know, washing up on a beach somewhere. The biggest component, especially over the long term, I've realized is actually identity. It all orbits around my sense of identity. But the most obvious, and the one that I keep running into because of what that identity might be driving, is burnout.
Running's a good example. And also audio while trying to film outdoors all the time. It contributes to more stress than you would know. Running is good for you, and I like running a lot. Like, it's really good for the heart. My legs are in great shape, but it's not hard to overdo it. And if you push too hard, especially if you don't have the right shoes, and if you're not taking time to rest, it's gonna just lead to injury over time. Even the most, elite athletes can overdo it and injure themselves. I'm not an elite athlete, and I too can overdo it and injure myself, which I've done. And if you don't listen to your body, which I'm learning to do, there's a good chance you're just gonna try and push through it, and in the end, the result is gonna be, not being able to run anymore, or at least for a while. So I'm learning to listen to my body, which also means, pushing things to see where the limits are, but really making sure to okay, back off in those moments when you're like, oh yeah, I think my knees are telling me that was enough for the week. Also, I lost my new little tripod, so this is just in a little clamp, so that's why the angle is all messed up. Anyway, sorry about that.
A lot of people have been asking me what happened to this guy, and well, the battery is charged. One of the things that happened to it, apparently, the tire is super flat, and I can't find the little pipe you have to use to. It's a pain in the butt to inflate. It's really echoing here as well too. I don't know how this is gonna work. What the heck is that even looking at? The wheel is a really good example. This is why I tucked my shirt into the back of my pants, because I knew it was going to be filthy down here. It's a really good example, as a metaphor perhaps, of what daily vlogging used to be. This is our transition between burnout and identity. Daily vlogging, much like riding the wheel, looks easy from the outside, but it's actually really difficult to do, at least to start and to get into from the inside. If done improperly, you can look like a total nerd doing it, and even if done well, the longer you keep doing it, the more likely you are to end up hurting yourself. And that was seen in this guy because this guy started to have some, you can see, doesn't even hold it's not supposed to do that. There are a lot of things it's not supposed to do. It's treated me pretty well. I had a lot of fun with it, but it got to the point where when riding it, occasionally it would do that. Which, if you're on an object that requires really good balance, especially while going at 20 kilometers an hour in traffic, cars and bikes and other stuff going around, leaning forward to accelerate and all of a sudden having that happen, kind of eats away at your confidence a little bit, especially when it happens a few times. And when you take it to the mechanic and they say, well, we don't see anything wrong with it, but you sure have squeezed a lot of mileage out of this, it might lead you to question whether or not you should keep riding it in public. I do miss it though, it's a lot of fun. Heavy though. Whoa, that's very sooty. I needed to wash my hands. I'm not so sure that I should sit on anything with these pants now. It's not how pant life should go. But much like an internal gyroscope, deciding it no longer wants to gyro or scope consistently, physically, I mean, like even physically, emotionally, I was kind of falling apart. Burnout has a lot of signs, whether you're just angry for no reason, like there's a lot. And we can talk more about burnout at some point if we want to, although I feel like it's been talked about broadly. We've talked about it before as well. Those kinds of signs that make you a little bit less certain about whether or not you can perform and keep doing what you're doing are signs that I probably could have and should have listened to sooner. But I had a really hard time doing so because vlogging every day had become a part of my identity. And not just like, you know, like, oh, this is what I do for a living, but it was a lot of my life. I would get up in the morning. You know those mornings where you turn off your alarm and say, I'll get up in a minute, and then you wake up an hour later? Yeah, that's this morning. Immediately start filming whatever it was I was doing in the morning, whether I was making coffee, going for a run, getting out into the day. I had to be thinking in terms of like, what is the story that I'm trying to tell today, and what am I doing today? Come on us, just squeezing through. What jobs am I doing today? I was holding down, 3 or 4 side jobs, you could say, or multiple jobs at once. Pharrell really wants to be in more videos, so we're gonna unload the truck. Where do I need to be? How do I need to get there? And how do I film myself doing as much of it as possible, if I'm allowed to film myself doing it at all? And then coming back home at the end of the day, every day, to edit. For some reason, YouTube still hasn't finished with my video. I uploaded it's 25%. I started uploading this like 7 hours ago. All right, I gotta go somewhere that has internet. Editing every day was how I ended every day. Like, if it didn't matter if I was out with friends, it didn't matter if I was doing something else for work, it didn't matter if I was on a date. It was always hanging over me at the back of my mind, and knowing that I needed to get it done that night, because if I had to do it the next morning, it would have just this cascade effect on the rest of the day. Not to mention how much it messes with your brain to be editing in the morning the day that happened before, and thinking about it and reliving that day, and then starting the next day late as well. It's really, really niche problems. And this is one of the reasons why I don't know that I've kind of avoided making this video too, because like, I don't want to complain. My life is pretty great. This job is awesome. It's a job I've always wanted, and it's something that I've always wanted to do, and I hope to do for as long as possible. But that's just it. If I don't stop and listen to the struggles that I'm having, if I don't actually pay attention to these things and recognize them as like real challenges, I'm just gonna sprint towards burnout. But when it's a part of your identity, especially the daily element of it, and part of the reason it becomes part of your identity, at least for me, I mean, an element of it was pride, knowing that I could do it. It's not something that's easy to do. And if you think that vlogging is easy to do, just go try and do it. Like, honestly, pick up the torch, run with it, see if you can make it for a couple weeks, a month. So I'm gonna try and edit this with only my mouse, which is gonna be terrible. More power to you if you can. The majority of people that I know who have tried it, it has altered the way that they see what I'm able to do, and people that exist within YouTube and video and those spaces combined generally have a completely different reaction when I tell people, oh yeah, I've vlogged daily for over 3 years, than the average consumer of just content in general. What I felt like in a lot of ways was ultimately this, and not to demean athleticism at all, but what I felt like was an elite athlete in a way. No jump. It's no fun. Like, I could do a thing. I could get up every day. I was disciplined in it. I posted every day. It didn't matter what came. Hell or high water, hangovers, hair of the dog, breakups. I don't know if that makes me tough or psychotic or just like a masochist, but there was something also really like core to that, where I looked at it and I said, like, I can do this thing, and I feel like I'm getting better at it all the time, that most people give up on within a few days. And that was kind of cool. I also just really liked it. I think that there's a really cool element of recording so much of your life, being able to share that for the future, sharing like memories. And I haven't even fully reaped the benefit of that, because I've never really gone back and watched any of it. There are certain episodes that I have for one reason or another, for some research or for, just to look something up. Also, I'm kind of embarrassed. Like, I don't want to watch myself that much. So like, it doesn't sound that appealing to me anyways. But I imagine in like 20 years from now, like being able to share that with family, whoever, with friends, or just maybe myself, being able to sit and kind of look back over the period of time that I recorded like that. And so then it's also hard to let go, because I don't want to stop that experience from continuing. Is this making I hope this is making sense. I've gone through a lot of identity changes in the last 5 years to a decade, right? The way that I was raised, where I was raised, so many things that I bought into whole hog that I'm like getting close to being like ready and able to talk about. But I didn't realize, even actually until preparing a little bit for this video, I was trying to I wrote out like a script and I decided to chuck it because while I would like to evolve and to change and to start making some different styles of videos, it was keeping me from just even doing this. And I just wanted to get this video out here. But I didn't realize until I was just sitting and thinking about it how much that adopting the identity of being a daily vlogger, as weird and silly of an identity as that may sound.
Angry?
You don't like the food?
If you don't make sounds, like slurping noises?
Yeah.
I was very rude then, and I'm sorry, because I ate very silently.
Was a replacement for me for a handful of other identities that were either being dissolved and stripped away from me or ones that I was kind of actively rejecting. And there was a void that was left there. There was a hole where I didn't know really who I was. And this sense of being lost and being unmoored, you know, like just adrift at sea without really knowing where I was going, what I was doing. If you've read my book, you know that I grew up like a pastor's kid, and that was a huge part of my identity. I grew up much more religious than I am now. I grew up more conservative than I am now. I grew up with a real sense of purpose in those things and what they gave me. And the more that I kind of looked outside into the world around me, the more that I traveled and grew, the more viewpoints that I took on, all of it, I think in a very good way, challenged all the assumptions that I had about the world and how it worked. But all of that didn't necessarily give me something to replace those frameworks with. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. When I look around, I also realize that there's an ability to take the best that you see in other people, to learn from the cultures that we're surrounded by, and to take on the characteristics that we want to make our own and to craft something for ourselves. And it's funny because that's kind of linked to the identity that I do inherently have, which is wanting to make my own way. YouTube and vlogging has enabled me to really create something for myself out of ostensibly nothing, and to make a life for myself that I would never otherwise be able to have. And that's also very largely thanks to you. And similarly, for where I want to go from here and how I want to define myself moving forward, that is something that I can create for myself. I don't have to rely on any given set of like rules or descriptions or whatever. I can look outside myself, see what I admire, see what I want to be a part of, what I look at and think, wow, that's really healthy, that's really attractive, that's really lovely. And I can pull that in while pushing out the stuff that I'm starting to recognize and identify within myself as not healthy, as not lovely, as not attractive. But that's hard. Life is a lot easier when you're given clear guidelines and you can just walk through those and end up where you need to be. And that's the life that I had before, and it's not the life that I have a hard time believing anyone's particular guidelines are necessarily gonna work entirely for me. I think I can take a lot of wisdom from a lot of different places and see a lot of great things in so many different viewpoints of life, but I want to proactively engage in that. And so that's been exhausting, and that's taken a lot. And now, you know, spending the last 2 years giving up the whole idea and identity of daily vlogging, you could tell if you've been watching me, it's been like prying my cold dead hands off of, you know, my favorite grilled cheese sandwich in my just dead mouth, I guess. That got weird. I don't even like grilled cheese sandwiches that much. I don't know why I picked grilled cheese sandwiches. It's just been a long transition in letting go and seeing what's left, and then trying to move forward from there. We all have to evolve at some point. We all have to change. What we do can't stay the same, and especially in the creator domain. I mean, I think I'm a little bit more weatherproofed to that for the style of content that I create because I'm sharing my own life. But at the same time, you know, things do have to change and evolve. And I've had a really, really hard time with that personally.
Today, my friends, is vlog day 1000.
Good morning. It's Friday, and today is my 1000th vlog of the day, which is kind of insane. I've been really scared that you would leave, that my audience as a whole, as an aggregate, would not like whatever I did next or not stick with me. The last 2 years have definitely proved that you'll stick around, so I very much appreciate that, and I'm trying to learn to lean into that. You're also the group of people that I think are most vocal about me taking care of myself because you want me to keep making videos for a long time, and the vast majority of you are very understanding and very very encouraging on the mental health side, on taking breaks, on having weekends, on all of it. If I'm going to put all this effort into secret project number 2, which I'm really excited about, I have to take it seriously, and I have to actually set aside time for that, which means taking time away from making videos, which is also scary because you're here for that, and that's me asking you to trust that the next thing that I'm making over here is going to appeal to a lot of you. I know it won't appeal to everybody, but especially if you're coming to Paris and you're following me and you're interested in a lot of the stuff that I'm interested in, I think you're going to like it a lot. Yeah, it's just a lot. It just feels scary. And I'm going to take some leaps of faith here as far as like, okay, let's reduce this, make at most 2 videos a week. I'm going to start making some videos in advance, like travel and so forth, that I can release later. I'm going to try and do Exploring France videos on Saturdays, and then regular vlogs like this on Wednesdays-ish. I guess we'll see how that goes. And I just want to take some more time to focus on the videos that I'm making and try to make them, even that much better, because I'm not juggling 3 or 4 things around making the video, but I can actually sit down and just think about this and only this for a period of time. And I think that's really exciting. And honestly, it got me really excited. I was journaling a little bit. I made that decision. I was like, this is actually what I need to do to get myself out of this rut. I'd been thinking, if I get a bigger apartment, if I get a dog, if I start dating and get a girlfriend, all these things, like maybe one of these things will help to solve this mess in my head. And I was like, no, I have a great life. I'm really lucky to have built what I've built. I need to maximize that. I need to enjoy it as much as I can. And I also need to maximize the healthy elements of it, not work 12 hours a day every day. Not work 12 hours a day most days. Really home in on actually mastering and making the most out of life I have right now, so that I just have this great thing. And then those bigger questions can be addressed as far as expanding my living space or getting a sweet little pupper dog. I need to focus on making what I have now the best I can, first and foremost. The other nice thing is if I rest up a little bit, it means that at any point that I feel like vlogging daily in the future, I can tackle it from a point of real energy and just hit it hard, which I would really love to do, because I want to vlog daily again at some point for a limited period of time. If I take care of myself now, reinvest, build up some energy, I'll kill it. And that's really exciting too. Anywho, that was a long take on this. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to keep making videos. I'm going to keep slowly working my way through the 80 and 8. I have some trips to the South planned. My dad is coming soon, so I'll definitely vlog a little bit more when he's here, just to capture some of those memories, but also try to just spend some time with him and not work the whole time.
It's going to be so nice and warm outside.
Welcome to Cameroon.
Thank you.
Well, I was saying welcome to your viewers.
Welcome to you too. I have adopted a new child.
Hey, turn around, let her get a
Zephyr, you've got to run for your money on niecehood here.
I think there's a lot of really fun stuff, a lot of fun stories to share. There's some ways we can change up the format. There's some just ways to experiment and have some fun, and I hope that you're along for that ride. And I have to give a shout out right now to Peggy, today's patron producer, but to all of my patrons, because the Patreon and the people that have supported me on Patreon over the last couple of years, I've seen there was a downturn when I stopped daily vlogging, which is kind of scary, but it found the floor, where there was a large group of people that just weren't gonna leave and are here for the long run. Or they just forgot that they support me. It's kind of like a gym membership. That could be possible too. But there's this group of people that seem to be persistent. And then things started growing again from there and got me to a place where you're the reason that I was able to even take this massive jump of faith, this leap of faith with Secret Project number 2 and put all the time, effort, and money that I have into it. But you're also the reason that I've started to feel comfortable with the idea of taking weekends, of sleeping when I need to sleep, all this really simple, basic stuff that you think humans would just do normally. Because this group of people are here, democratizing my finances, so that if a few people leave, there's always a few that are going to join. It's always growing a little bit, but I can't get fired, in a way. I can't just lose my job. And it's such a massive blessing. And I think of it as a luxury. As somebody who's always had to hold down multiple jobs my whole life, or just live basically at the poverty line, I'm so grateful that you're here, because being able to just slow down and try to figure out what is actually the best next step, where do we go from here, to focus. And then on these days where I feel like this kid who said that he said in the article that he felt like he was tapping a keg that had been empty for a year, and he dreaded making the videos that he was making. If I ever feel like that now, feeling like, okay, let's just take a step back see if we can't refill that keg. Let's do something else. Let's focus on something else. And there are other things that I'm working on that do get me really excited. Exploring with the 80 and 8 again actually gets me excited. I was so burned out on those when we finished them last time around, especially because I don't have to do the whole thing in just one day. I can film, do a little bit of editing, and then save some editing for later. It's just changing everything, and I think I'm gonna actually last a lot longer. And if it wasn't for my patrons, if I was reliant on sponsor money, I would have so much pressure on me to get things done faster. If I was reliant on other work, I would have to put obviously so much time and energy into that, and I would lose it all from this. So thank you to my patrons, because I've said this in many ways and in many times, but it is a very real statement to say that without you, I wouldn't be able to have done what I've done in the last couple of years. And all the fun, I think, really cool stuff that's coming would also not be possible in the future. So thank you so much. It means so much to me. So with that, I think we've tackled everything. I hope you're doing really well. I hope that you're happy, safe, and healthy wherever it is you are, that you're able to take some time for yourself, and that if you're struggling with that sense of identity, whether that's like the puritanical work ethic of like, my value is in my productivity in my hands. I would like to challenge you that it's not. You have inherent value as a human being, and the people around you love you and see you as a person and want you to be happy and healthy. If they don't, maybe find some new people around you, but I want you to be happy and healthy, and I want you to take care of yourself, and I want you to get some rest, and to slow walk yourself into the next chapter and figure out when it is that you need to sprint, but to only sprint for what is necessary. And after that, like, you'll get there. Life may feel short, but life's also long, and we've got a lot of time to get there. To wherever it is we want to go. I'll see you. I'm so excited to make a video about the Carnavalet, the Museum of Paris that has been closed the entire time I've been here, so that's coming up this Saturday. And then, yeah, there's some fun trips to the south coming up, as well as some other just great stuff that I'm really excited to share with you. I hope that you'll stick around for that. And of course, patrons will be getting, now this is another fun thing, now that I'm gonna be doing, I don't have to like turn the video around within a few hours and upload it and get it off. Assuming I get these videos done a couple days in advance, I will always then give a preview to my patrons as a thank you as well. And we're just gonna keep coming up with fun random perks to throw your way, because my Patreon keeps evolving and changing all the time. Just like I haven't very well, but I'm gonna do better as time goes on. And I'll see you, here on YouTube, over on Patreon, wherever, Instagram, for all that. Take care of yourself. And I'll see you around.